Hello, everyone, and welcome to our LinkedIn Live. Today, I'm joined once again by Ricky. How are we going today, Ricky? Are we well?
Yeah, pretty good. It's pretty cold, but lucky I'm working from home.
Yeah, that's it. It's a little bit warmer, I think, in Brisbane, but cold for us Brisbaneers. That's for sure. Um, Feel free for those joining. Let us know where you're attending from. You're able to use the comment feature in the LinkedIn live chat to communicate with Ricky and I over the course of this LinkedIn live. But let's dig into today's topic, which is all things individual claiming and reconciliation. So we want to take a deep dive today into NDIS claiming processes, and we'll be showing towards the end a little demo of how this can work for you to be more efficient and effective when it comes to your claiming, to avoid some of those areas that we might experience just due to human nature and so on and so forth. So today's all a deep dive into individual claiming and reconciliation. As always, we have a few points of housekeeping. I did mention the chat there just moments before, but please feel free to ask any questions you have using the comment feature on LinkedIn Live. They'll come through to Ricky and myself, and we'll either endeavour to answer those as we go or answer them at the end of today's LinkedIn Live. But we can also send a copy of our answers to you afterwards as well. If you do have any technical issues, please feel free to email my good colleague here, Ricky, at quicklane.com.au, and he will be able to support you, not just in terms of today's LinkedIn Live, but more importantly, technical issues when it comes to claiming. He's the master of it all. I'm just shamelessly plugging your abilities. And then, as I touched on, we will certainly send you slides as well. These slides and the recording will go up on LinkedIn as well if you'd like to watch it back whenever is convenient. So I have introduced Ricky, but Ricky, in your own words, would you like to share with our attendees a little bit about your story and what you do?
Yeah, so I've been at Quicklane for just under 3 years now, and in NDI space, really just helping a lot of NDI providers kind of automate this billing process, and I guess give them some ideas to think about when it comes to this whole billing process as well. So today I'd like to share some of the, I guess, like little kind of quick wins that they got from either using our system or even just changing the process a little bit of how they're currently doing it. So hopefully I can share some of that stuff with you today and give you some ideas.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Ricky. And for those that might not have met me before, my name's Tristram. I've worked in the NDIS since its inception, really. But just as importantly, I'm also an NDIS participant. So I've lived experience of how the NDIS one is rolled out, how it works for a participant engaging the services of providers. And that lens is really useful to come up with ways to make that relationship between participants and providers more efficient. And the very core of that is ensuring providers get paid timely for the services that they deliver. So as we go, I'll share some of my lived experience as well as Ricky sharing his expertise. So we'll get straight into it today. As I said, we do have a demo a little bit later on about how you can automate some of these processes. But for the most part, in our dealings with a number of providers, we see traditionally many use the traditional sort of CSV upload system. And in our dealings, we see there being sort of three sort of key challenges to the CSV upload process in terms of your own claiming efficiency. So the first is just at that operational level. So when using the CSV upload, at the operational level, there's often too much time spent sitting in those spreadsheets, making everything work. And this just naturally, through no fault of the skill of the person doing it, leads to some, occasional errors, human errors. And as a result, this then leads to the second challenge, which is at an executive level, time spent remediating those errors. And that is obviously then reliant on the individual expertise of the people remediating those areas. So when the error occurs, time goes up fixing those areas. And then that leads to the third challenge that we see most commonly, which is overall the business impacts. So the total cost of claims goes up. So although relatively sort of simple system, it does conflate in taking time away that you could be devoting to other aspects of your business. And that time obviously leads to money that could be spent elsewhere. So although, like I said, the traditional way, it does lead to some issues in lost revenue. And what Ricky will talk about in terms of automating these processes is how you can claim back that lost revenue, rescue that revenue through automating the processes. So I'm going to throw over to you, Ricky, and feel free to add anything further to my points there. But you're going to look a little bit more closely into the data for best practice in terms of automating those processes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, exactly like what you said, when people are using spreadsheets to do the claiming, to do the reconciliation of the payments, even just to track what's going on, it becomes quite hard to really dig into the details of things. And what I've noticed is when I do speak to providers who are using this spreadsheet method, they often would have to upload that spreadsheet into a different, either into the CRM system to kind of track the errors to a certain degree. Some providers don't even do that. They just house the errors in spreadsheets. It makes it hard for the managers and the execs to really understand what's going on. So you want to track or be able to at least track what errors are, where they're coming from, and how they're actually happening as well. If you can dig that into even more detail in terms of which locations are causing those kind of errors, whether it's a training issue, whether it's a staff issue, whether it's people just inputting the wrong information into the CRM system, those are very important information that you want to be able to get into. So like I said, whether you're using QuickPlay, whether you're using any other kind of software provider, or even just doing the spreadsheet method, you want to be able to track that to a certain degree. So then you know what to fix and how to fix it. So moving forward, you're going to be getting less errors. That's going to help with your cash flow. And as we all know in the NDIS industry right now, cash flow is super important. So you want to try to help that as much as possible, and spend as little time claiming and getting this money back into the business, and doing all these kind of nitty gritty things. Because at the end of the day, the more time you're spending on it, the more time and it's costing the business to try to get those claims back into the business, which is revenue for your business. So that's kind of some of the highlight things there. But what I'll do is I'll jump into our platform. I'll just show you real quickly in terms of kind of how we do it and some of the reports that you can get out of it as well.
While you're sharing your screen there, Ricky, we just had a comment around whether the recorded video will go live. As it can't attend today, yes, just to reiterate, we will be sharing a recorded video after today for those to catch up. Back to you, Ricky.
Perfect. So essentially, because we're NDIS digital partner, how we're kind of situated is we've got direct access to NDIS APIs, and we've built software on top of it. But what we've also done is built a lot of connections into CMS systems and into finance systems as well. So you can picture us kind of sitting in the middle, where you've got your billable data coming from your CRM system into us. From us, we can send those claims to the portal, get the results back, and automatically reconcile those payments into your finance system. Now, a lot of providers have started to change the way they're reconciling the payments, which is awesome. When I first came into the industry, everyone was just doing a bulk reconciliation. So they'll download a bulk CSV from the portal, tally up the total amount, create one line item into the finance system, and then just tick it off there. Now, the problem with that is it's very hard to understand exactly which claims are going to end up going missing due to errors or due to just a lot of back and forth and people just missing out on certain things. So you want to be able to reconcile at a line item level. What I've noticed over the last year and a half, more companies have started to transition to doing that, but it does take a lot more time to do it. But there is a huge benefit to doing it. So if you're still doing a bulk reconciliation, I would highly recommend going into a line-by-line reconciliation. I'll show you how we do it over here in our system as well. So any claims that's ready to be claimed from the portal will come into this ready to claim management section here. All the data will come in here. We'll run a quick validation check with you as well based on some validation rules. So it could be, if it's a public holiday, make sure it's a public holiday rate. If it's weekend, make sure it's a weekend support category, all that easy stuff. Then you simply just claim that one button and it'll send all the claims up to the NDIS for you through the portal. Now, what we'll do as well is we'll put a little individual tracker on each of those line items as we're creating these batches. And so each line item will now have a unique transaction ID. And then that will allow us to automatically reconcile any payments that come through to NDIS. And then we can also reconcile that into your finance system on a line-by-line level, like what we talked about as well. Now, the great thing about this as well is now we can also track in terms of the errors and how long it takes the errors to remediate and how many back and forth between the errors that we have to do. So any errors that come back from the NDIS system will come into this claim recovery section here. It'll give a reason for those errors as well. If it's something simple that you can fix yourself, you can just click edit and you can edit around what you need to. Sometimes it's something that you can't fix yourself, so you might actually have to reject it and then send it back to the system. And then maybe they're now changed to a plan manager, so you actually got to reject it, send it back to your CMS system, find a new plan manager, and then bring that back in. So it's a whole different workflow behind that, which we won't dive too much into for today. But what you also get to see as well is as soon as the claim becomes successful, what we'll do is we'll automatically reconcile that payment with the payment request number, set form number, all of it into your finance system. So it's something that you don't have to do manually anymore. Everything can be tracked individually. And then that will all tie back to our analytics, where if we check out this section here, this is something that a lot of our clients like to see, is essentially how much errors has happened within the business, current and historical. So historical are errors that happened, but you've resolved it, you've got the money back, everything's all good. Current are the ones that are still outstanding for you. So as you can see here, we've got a whole bunch of claims here, and then as time goes by, we've kind of solved a lot of it, but there's still a huge chunk around. We can actually see which locations is actually causing these types of errors. And then we can also see what the typical error reason is. Now, the best part of all this is the tracking of the resubmission part. A lot of clients that I speak to when they first started off, they all kind of assume once or twice for resubmission and everything's all good. But then once they actually start using the system and we're actually tracking everything, it's taking them 4 or 5 times sometimes to solve it. Some people that think they had a 1% error rate actually had a 9% error rate. So unless you're tracking it and at that management and exec level, you won't really understand what's going on unless everything is actually tracked to a certain degree. So these are some things that we've done in our system. What we've also done as well is we've been giving some of our clients like a health check report, where we can onboard you to NDIS APIs. We check your last batch history from the last 6 to 12 months. And then we can actually see in terms of like what your error rates are, where the errors are happening and all that stuff as well. So if you are interested in something like that, feel free to put down a comment. Feel free to reach out to me. Happy to organize something like that for you, and see what kind of value we can add to your to your business there as well. So those are kind of the main things I wanted to share with you today. And yeah, anything from your interest?
No, that was perfect. Thanks so much for sharing, Ricky. So just in terms of that workflow that you went through there, you had the ready claim section where you process the claims at an individual level. And then you had the claim recovery, so being able to see exactly why claims might be rejected. But the real power is in the analytics, so seeing tracking over time, the reasons for claims being rejected, how long it might take for that to be resolved, because then that, as we touched on at the very beginning, impacts your business and where you need to redirect resources and use that most appropriately. So I think that's perfect. We've got a little bit more time left. If anyone would like to ask any questions in the chat, feel free to reach out. If nothing comes through in the next 30 seconds or so, we'll wrap it up there, confirming that we will also share this recording after today. Doesn't seem like there's any other questions. Any other key takeaways there, Ricky?
Perfect. No, I think just at the end of the day, ideally, if everyone can track everything, then that's just perfect. And then if you can tie that back into how that's going to help your business overall, like I said, whether you use QuickClaim, whether you use any other kind of software provider out there, the more you can automate, the more you can track, the more data you get within your business, the better your business is going to become. And we've seen that happen over the course of the years with a lot of our clients, but also other clients as well. So, that's my key takeaway is if you can track whatever, as much as you can, get as much data as you can, you'll see your business slowly improve over time. And you know exactly what you should be improving on as well.
Perfect. Can't think of a better way to finish. If you do have any questions after the fact, please feel free to email ricky@quicklane.com.au, and he will get back to you with those technical answers. We actually do have one question just come through in the nick of time. Ricky, how long does it take the implementation and integration?
Yeah, so great question there. Really depending on what systems you're using. So if it's a CRM system that we've got previous connections built, then it becomes quite quick. You're looking between like 6 weeks to onboard and get started. In terms of integrating into the NDIS APIs, that typically is a 2-week process where we have to get approval from DPO, and also you'll have to register us as part of my provider portal there as well. So that whole process typically takes about 2 weeks, and depending on what systems you're using, it could be 6 weeks onboarding, it could take a few months onboarding, but happy to have a chat with you about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give that email address again there for ricky@quicklane.com.au. He'll be able to give you a concrete answer for your own business as to that timeline. He's more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. All right, I think that's the last of the questions that have popped through. We'll wrap it up there. Ricky, thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Bye.